And Francis, you're an English teacher, so what is so wrong about taking kids out of term time to go on holiday?
I think many parents don't realise how destructive it can be for a child's education, even at an early age. But certainly, I'm a secondary school teacher. I've been teaching for 20 years, and I consistently see the students who do the worst in the end are the ones that are just taking time off. And
even
often,
a week, does it really make that much difference?
Yeah, it can. At the moment, I'm teaching GCSE coursework. If you miss a week, even a lesson, you're way behind. And it's so difficult for these students to catch up, particularly if they don't have supportive parents. And they just sink into a cycle of despair and they don't actually achieve what they could.
Liz, you've got 3 kids, you're a parenting expert. Have you ever done this?
Yes, I have. Sorry. I'm going to speak as the voice of parents who struggle financially, actually, to go away at any time. And all you have to do is you look at the price list of most holidays before, during and after half term or any holiday, and you will see it doubles. And so, really, look, nobody wants teachers to be struggling. Nobody wants children to be struggling. On a serious note, really we don't, of course. But there are many, many families now watching tonight who know that they cannot afford to go away at all during holiday times. We know the holiday companies are not going to change this. The airlines are not going to change this. This exists. And what I would like to see, rather than people sort of feeling bad about going away, and we all tell the odd slight fib, I had to count the number of grandparents whose funerals that we'd attended at one point, because I was sure we'd been to far too many. And and I feel terrible about that. It would be much nicer, and a lot of parents tonight have contacted me to say this, could we have maybe a week? You have a week, no questions asked. Like every family could have 1 week during the year. That's your time that you can go away. It's important this time as a family, right? And everybody should be able to do it.
And this is a serious subject, because the Sutherlands have been fined £1,000.
And quite right too, quite right. I really think that parents,
they should be fined that much money?
I feel very strongly that parents need to be sent the signal that it's not acceptable to take your child out during term time. You don't know the damage it does and the sorts of signals it sends to a child.
Just respond to a couple of these messages, if you don't mind, Francis. We've had hundreds, and a lot of them are in support of the Sutherlands. Tracy Beattie via Twitter says, if the price of a holiday didn't increase so much, parents wouldn't need to take their children out of school. And David King on Facebook says, all children deserve holidays, yet some parents can't afford family holidays during peak season. Why should the government dictate to parents what they can and can't do? What do you say to those people?
I'd say, firstly, there are very nice holidays to be had at home, and I frequently come across the case that children sit around during holidays, they're not happy. Believe it or not, contrary to what you find out, most children like school and they prefer to be in school a lot of the time.
But holidays can be educational, and surely a parent knows best for their child rather than an English teacher, would you say?
I worry that many parents, they complain about teachers at the drop of a hat, but don't actually know how to educate their children properly, and they need a lot of guidance. They need a firm hand so that we set boundaries, say, this is where your education happens, and you have the holiday time to take a bit of time off, but you don't need to be spending thousands on a holiday. You can stay at home and pay attention to your child. Well, I think the odd day here and there,
and most parents watching now know, if you miss the last Thursday or Friday before term, frankly, mine are watching DVDs. They're not doing very much at school. They're really not. And we don't want to disrupt your lives, because it's very difficult as a teacher to get people coming and going. But really, to find
maybe you can answer these then. Look, Kim Standish from Facebook says they're selfish. These are the parents. Their children's education is more important than some holiday. John Smith on Facebook says parents should be fined. Kids are off far too much and for far too long. Parents have plenty of time to arrange holidays. They have enough holiday, don't they?
There are many parents also who got in touch with me tonight to say that their children don't have the same holiday time. So this is a real problem where you have...
are you being selfish taking your children
I think you are.
You have to ask yourself why you're doing it. I have friends right now whose children are out of school. They're in South America because that's the only time he could afford to take them. He is taking them travelling, and they are learning a foreign language. I'm sorry?
Is that more important than their curriculum?
That is their education. That is an enormous part of their education. And yes, we're not talking about taking time off school to sit at home and play on a machine.
Which too often happens.
Which I agree with you.
Yes, it does. Is a trip to South America an education?
Obviously, it sounds amazing, but I think we shouldn't sell down the river what teachers do. Teachers do an amazing job, and and we're paying taxes for it. We need to support teachers.
Nobody would disagree with that. If you're doing the right job, yes, of course, and we want to support you, but I think that there needs to be an understanding that it is very difficult for many families to go away and spend that time together, which is an extremely important part of your upbringing. They can't always use them, they can't always use them because they can't afford to go anywhere.
So just very quickly and finally, what would you say to the Sutherlands tonight, Francis?
I say, it serves you right. You need to support your teachers in your school and
Even
really...
though they haven't been on holiday for 5 years as a family.
I mean, the judge knows best. It was put before the judge, and I think, clearly he's thought very carefully about this. And he also is aware we need to send a signal to parents that it's not acceptable to pull your child out of school.
Liz, what would you say to them?
I would like to see 5 days a year where every family can, with no questions asked, take their child out of school. This is the time that you have that you can use outside that tiny little bit of holiday time when everybody else is going. You can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. And I honestly I don't see a problem with it, provided they're then working during the classroom. But that's very difficult, and sometimes they're not doing anything when they're in the classroom. Okay. So I think parents really do struggle to come down on so hard.
Well, guys, thanks for a great debate tonight. Thanks very much for joining us.